Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the County. Today I'm with Stacey Durgin Smith, who is a health educator in the Aiken County Health and Human Services Department. Hello, Stacey.
Hello, good afternoon.
And how's things going for you today on this beautiful day?
Very busy. Very busy, planning many things.
Always very busy over there in Health and Human Services. A lot of big things coming up and going on. But let's start with you just a little bit. Give us some background of Stacey Durgin Smith. And are you an Aiken County resident? Are you an Aiken County person that has been here forever, born and bred? Tell us all about it.
I'm an implant. I was raised around the Midwest, but I've been here almost 30 years now. I've been with the county for 27 of those years.
That's outstanding. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. So I'm not from Aiken, and right now I don't live in Aiken County, but I have previously for most of the time I was here. We found a house between Deerwood and Crosby that we couldn't pass up. So
there you go. That happens. That happens at times. We thank you for how long you were living here, and especially thank you for the 27 years at Aiken County.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. One of the biggest things that we try to do, again, in these podcasts is to make sure that we're calling out the great staff that we have here at Aiken County and all of the cool things that we do to help the community and help support the residents and the listeners and the growing amount of listeners. I don't know if you heard that, but we're growing in listeners and regular activities, so that's awesome to hear from. But when you're doing the work of health educator, tell me a little bit about what does that involve?
It changes. It changes a lot depending on the legislature and what they fund, what funding we get from the federal government on down. It also changes according to our community health assessment, what we find out from the community about what needs are and where we need to concentrate some of our efforts. Currently, half of my position is for emergency preparedness for public health. That means getting our staff prepared for one if we need to respond to an emergency in the county. We've got some experience with that now with COVID in the past. There's all sorts of different kinds of emergencies that can impact the health of the public. You know, most people aren't going to think of public health when there's a flood or a windstorm or something, but we tend to be the people that organize getting cleanup kits and getting water and food and maybe assistance centers set up if people are going to have a lot of needs. So there's lots of things that actually involve public health that you might not think of. Also, we're a little bit of distance from like the Red Cross, so they would assist us with a shelter if they're available, but they wouldn't be able to get here as fast as we would. And we don't know if the volunteers will be able to make it here.
Sure.
One of the flood in the most recent flood in the past, it would have been impossible because one of the roads was washed out between Duluth and Aiken. So if we needed to set up any kind of a shelter, they wouldn't have been able to get to us. And they were helping Duluth, which was overwhelmed.
Yeah, that was where the worst of the worst was. I can remember on that one. And that, that's important work. Hopefully we never have to use it. But being prepared for those emergencies is a lot of what you do, as you mentioned. You also said that's about half of your role. What's the other half of your role?
Right now, part of it is just regular health education. And when I say that, I mean doing things like the county fair, school fairs. If there's some area that we think needs some extra emphasis and they have like a month coming up, a celebration month, we might do something. For example, get your colon cancer screening campaign, something like that. And then the facilitation of the Committee for the Awareness and Prevention of Suicide falls under my health education umbrella now.
Okay.
I also coordinate some suicide prevention activity outside of that, but that's the majority of it. And our CAPS group has really been busy lately, planning for the state event that's coming up. In August with the Chamber and the City and Riverboat Days and Ripple Sippy, and there's going to be a lot going on that weekend.
Yeah, that seems like a great community collaboration for the city of Aiken or for the Aiken area. CAPS, you just mentioned what it was, the Stay, Walk, Run, and Rally. What does Stay stand for those that don't know?
It doesn't stand for anything except, and I'll clarify that.
Yeah, that's great.
But CAPS is the Committee for the Awareness and Prevention of Suicide. So that's why you'll see CAPS. But Stay is basically just kind of a mantra that we want people to stay.
Okay.
Your story isn't done. There is help available. Don't extinguish your light in the darkest hour. Reach out for help.
Understand.
We tend to use Stay on a lot of our t-shirts and for the event.
So educating the residents and community members on everything public health. The Walk, Run, Rally you mentioned is coming. Is it August 2nd that is going to happen?
Yep, August 2nd. If you're interested, there's kind of the three sections. We have the walk run going on. Last time we did those separate, but found out a lot of the walkers wanted to go through the run path so they could do the color part of it, and it was a color run. So we decided we would just have one, and then we'll start the runners off at 8 and then the walkers off at 8:05 so that they're not in the way of those people who would like to time themselves for their race. So that will be a color run, and if anyone's interested in helping, we're still looking for volunteers to help with throwing colors. To me, it sounds like one of the funnest jobs to do, and I know the people that did it last year really did say they had a lot of fun. So that's the walk run part, but we also are having a rally, and that involves, first of all, during the first hour from 8 to 9, Mike and Jan Cherry will be performing on the terrace just to kind of welcome and open up, and then they will also provide an intermission between our speakers later. So we're planning on 2 speakers, one at 9 and one at 10:30. We will have our vendors set up from 8 to 12. There is a vendor fair that the chamber is set up so that we've joined forces with them there too, and we are encouraging our folks to stay until the chamber ends theirs, but let them know that if you can't make the whole day, that's okay too. One of the reasons that we're having this so-called vendor fair is it's not a sales fair. It's not that kind of a thing. It's resources. When we did some early assessments of our area, we learned that a lot of people didn't know about the resources that are available. And so we wanted to make sure that people know that. So we include a resource fair so that those people can get out and show their faces and meet people. Last year they said they had a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that they really got to talk to a lot of people, and it was really fun, and they wanted to do it again. So
yeah. One of the things in our strategic plan for the county that was just created was more of that community outreach, and I know you all in HHS have been doing it for a long time, right? Forever. But it's making sure that we can communicate the services, the support, what's needed, making sure that we can communicate that out there and continuing to take care of our residents. So I thank you for starting all of that and in our HHS department, and now we get to do it all over. I know you did mention...
And I thank you and your committee for helping us with some of the funding.
Oh, absolutely. We love to do it. This drawing residents, drawing citizens, drawing visitors down into our areas and being able to see the different things for great causes, but being able to see everything that's going on. Hopefully they'll decide to come back. I mean, there's so many huge things happening down there. You mentioned the terrace with
Jan and Mike Cherry.
Jan and Mike. I just saw him the other day. I gotta remember that. But you mentioned the terrace down there. That's a beautiful facility. If anybody's had a chance to go down there and see just an outdoor concert, I know the chamber just had an event down there recently, and it's just what a great live outdoor performance area that they built for us all to take advantage of and get the opportunities to see.
Yeah,
so.
It's nice. It's really beautiful. And I'm hoping that we overwhelm it
with
people coming in to see our speakers. I was really pleased at our last event at how many people did stay around to listen to the speakers, both of them, and hear what they had to share and the encouragement they had to offer, and didn't just dip out on that part. So
yeah, that's great.
and hopefully, like I said, we'll have some people that didn't intend to be there for that part, but they are, and they learned something that they didn't know they would get to learn that day.
And it obviously a very important subject for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are touched by that certain subject out there, that they've gone through it, that they maybe have had some experience with it, or somebody that has them, they know that has experience. And just to know that we have a group like yours that's there to help, that's there to support, that's pretty cool. And you should feel really cool about that.
Thank you. One of the other areas that we started working on for that is postvention. And basically that's planning to be supportive of the family after someone has tried to kill themselves, after a suicide, and even just traumatic events. To lose somebody even in a car crash and suddenly is very traumatic. And there are resources out there, and that's what we want to make sure that we do, is offer those people the resources that they need or can get to. And we also have one of our members who lost her son to suicide. And she said, I want to be there to talk to anyone who needs to talk about it, because it was so hard for her at first. Yeah. So we're working on how to do that as a community. We're learning a lot right now. I think we're more in the learning mode than we are in the action mode, but that's okay. Sometimes you get excited to do something and then you find out you don't know as much as you thought you did. Yeah. That's kind of normal for me. I find out there's a lot that I need to learn. I mean, right now, the other part of my job is to do the community health improvement plan and work with our staff to see how their services fit into that plan and how we might use the services that we have to support more of the communication that we have for other areas.
Okay.
For example, during our community health assessment, it rose to the top that women between the ages of 36 and 44 were at a higher risk for mental health issues. Mm-hmm. And then we did a lot of community feedback input to find out why that is, some areas that we can work on to try and help that. But some of it, it's you kind of got to tease out what is it that needs to be done. Yeah. Because we are healthcare too. Our nurses, our WIC nurses, see people, measurements. They check out the baby. They give education for moms and infants and children, and they do home visits. So it's important that people know the health care that we offer too, and how that health care fits in. But at the same time that we are offering WIC services, we can make sure that we're reaching out to those people in that age group that are most at risk and say, hey, if you need any resources or information, or what can we do to support you? And that's a lot of what we continue to do, is try and find out what we can do to support our citizens the best.
You were absolutely correct at the beginning when you said you're busy and there's a lot going on.
Yes.
And all the planning, like I said, to hopefully never have to use that, but it's still necessary planning, and it's that type of thing, and to understand where we are as a community and being able to help where we can. Tremendous work from HHS staff and from the public health department specifically out there. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we weren't a recognized cog in the wheel there for a long time. The public health work and emergency preparedness really began after 9/11, after 9/11, when they realized that we have a lot to do involved with this, and that's when it started growing. So we've kind of budged our way in, and we've grown a lot in our capacity over the past 20 years. There's still a lot of growth to do. There's always that balance that we have to strike, because like Duluth has 2 full-time people to work on emergency preparedness. Mm-hmm. That's not what we have here.
Yeah.
So where do we strike the balance in getting done what we need to get done, but not getting lost in the weeds?
Yeah, absolutely. And the responsible government, I'm always amazed at the amount of people that it takes to get something done, and the amount of people that are getting things done at such a high level.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at how that works inside government. And I know that your team over there doing very well, I know that there's a lot going on. Just to recap quickly, the CAPS Stay, Walk, Run, and Rally, August 2nd. Is there a website?
You can register either by going on the Riverboat Days page, or you can go through the Naturally Better community calendar to register, or you can go to the CAPS page on the county website. And there are flyers going out everywhere with the QR codes and advertisements going in the local papers with QR codes to connect to that registration form. So people can get registered and either walk or run.
And if they want volunteer,
to get volunteer.
Volunteer. So.
And if they want to get a T-shirt that fits them, be guaranteed a T-shirt and one that fits them, they need to do it by July 10th, because that's when we need to get our order in. And a lot of people tend to register through things at the last minute, so I'm encouraging you to register earlier than the last minute this year.
There you go. There's your homework assignment, listeners. Get out there before July 10th and make that happen so you can be guaranteed on your T-shirt. Stacey, thanks again for coming in. If there's any more that comes up in the future, please don't hesitate to stop by and see us. And
Thank you.
Good luck on all of the events that you're about to go into.
Thank you. And anything you want to volunteer for, too.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'll remember that one, yes. And thanks, Stacey, again. And you're listening to Coffee with the County.